Full time at Anfield, and it has finished 2-1 to Liverpool against Ajax in the Champions League. What a win for the Reds. Joel Matip with the late header, rescuing all 3 points. Welcome along, everyone, to the Debrief Live on the Blood Red channel, courtesy of the Liverpool Echo, myself, Patrick Smith. I'm now joined by Theo Squires, live from Anfield. Theo, how's things?
Yeah, not too bad. Better after that 89th minute winner from Joel Matip. It's been a few weeks since, it's only been a couple of weeks, hasn't it, since we had one of those. Fabio Carvalho against Newcastle, but much needed win for Liverpool to get this Champions League campaign underway. And when you think they're not going to play again until October the 1st against Brighton with these Premier League postponements, it's a vital 3 points to Liverpool to get this Champions League campaign underway and hopefully kickstart their season.
Yeah, let's not think about how we're going to fill that void yet. But, I mean, what's your general overview of the match? No, amazing result, but maybe not the best of evenings for Liverpool. They played pretty well, Theo, but what's your thoughts on the night?
It shouldn't feel as important as it does. Like, Anfield really erupted when Joel Matip's header went in. It's almost that desperation in the air that they know the team aren't playing as well as they can do. They know something is wrong with the players at the moment. It's not quite reaching the heights we've been used to over the last few years. But that makes it that bit more special when they do get a late goal like that. And it was an improved performance from them. When compare how they played against Napoli, where they're like strangers on the pitch, and we've said that too often this season. Granted, not as bad as it was in Naples, but they created chances today. They were the better team for the majority. There were still hiccups, I suppose, like Ajax were thrusting on the counter-attack. The high line did look a little bit fragile at times, but they were so better defensively. The midfield was so much better, and you got to point to Thiago there. He made such a big difference coming back into that team, same as Joel Matip did at centre-back. But then the front three, they created chances. Time and time again, we've seen Persevere, shots going straight at him. You think, oh, surely Liverpool are going to actually challenge him at some point. They're getting set pieces, and they're heading off target, or he's pulling off saying, surely something's going to fall their way. And finally, Joel Matip gets that header in front of the Kop in the last minute. But, yeah, it was much improved from Liverpool. Now they've got 2-3 weeks to do all their work on the training ground. They've got the international break. Hopefully we're seeing a very different side next month when more players are back from injury and they can really get the season underway.
I mean, it already looks like a different side, doesn't it, to Napoli last week? You know, that sort of freak performance. It's nice to have that classic Liverpool side back. And the midfield especially, Theo. I mean, Thiago, for me, was my man of the match. Shout, it might have changed since Joel Matip's late goal. But how important is it that Thiago's back? Because we're such a different side with him in, aren't we?
Yes, Liverpool are, and that is the desperation in itself. When the injuries stacked up and they weren't playing well, there was that realisation, it's like, oh, if Thiago's coming back, he can save Liverpool, he can be their saviour, he can get them purring again. But you can't put it all on one player. This is a team that has won the Premier League, it's won the Champions League, but he is a world-class performer. It's why they signed him from Bayern Munich. He's done it all at the highest level for Barca, for Bayern. And now, hopefully, he's going to do it for Liverpool. Like, he's got a couple of domestic cups to his name, but you want him to do that a bit more. And he's just purring in midfield. He's so good. Like, he gets on the ball. He dictates everything. Not sure whether the TV cameras picked it up, but his celebration for the first goal was brilliant. He just sprints to leap into Alisson's arms because he knows how important that long ball was from the goalkeeper. There was one dummy, I think, where he just let it through his legs to Tsimikas. And he fooled everyone in the stadium, and you think, oh, he's just going to control that. It was superb. Those step overs, his little dribbles, his little runs, and he's just so good on the ball, isn't he? When he passes it, spreads the play. You look at this Liverpool side; it is full of winners now. That is what Jurgen Klopp has built. But Thiago is still a level above in terms of that pedigree, and it's been needed. When you start to doubt yourself, you need that elite champion, and Liverpool got their elite champion back now. You just need to keep him fit. But if he keeps playing like this, like we say every time he's fit and he shows what he can do, it's like, wow, what a player Liverpool signed. And to think they haven't even enjoyed his best years, have they? He's the wrong side of 30. Imagine if Anfield had been winning this player 5 years ago. But it's incredible on his day. Just please don't get injured again, Thiago.
Yeah, no, please don't get injured. He just oozes class, doesn't he? I still stand by the fact he's the best control of a football I've ever seen, particularly in the flesh, and particularly in the Champions League. He's so effective. But someone else who came back from injury and very much impressed me was Diogo Jota. Great return to Anfield for him. Looked electric there, didn't he?
Yeah, he set up the opening goal for Mohamed Salah, and he was lively. I think it's the first time we must have seen him start up front since like March or something.
I was trying to think, the question.
Because you think last season when he had that injury, didn't he, in the springtime, and when he came back, he was put on the left because Sadio Mane was up front now, and in hindsight, we can say, well, that's because Sadio Mane was leaving for Bayern Munich and they wanted to get Luis Diaz used to his role on the left. but it's considering he had 20-odd goals last season. So we've not played in his preferred position for so long and then had the disruption in pre-season with the injuries, coming back and injured again. It's not been an easy time to come back into a Liverpool side when you think confidence has gone completely. Last time he was playing, they were on the verge of winning absolutely everything. But he didn't look like a player who'd been out injured for 3 months. He was linking up well with his teammates, and I think I read before the game, it was the first time this front three had started a game together. Well, that's how well they do the first time. We'll have to see more of it this season. And it's just, I think all the injuries Liverpool have had this season, they've suddenly got 3 options who can play that central role. And I don't know about you, but it's pretty hard to pick between them at the moment. You might say 64 million, you'd go for Núñez. But Firmino's been a man in form, scoring goals this season. And Jota, well, if he can recreate the form he was in, I'd say, autumn time last year when he was getting the goals and he was so important for Liverpool, then he could be a man to reignite their fortunes. We said how costly the injuries were. And when you looked at the players that were injured, it wasn't necessarily a number of them in the starting 11, but it was those important squad players that, can chop and change. You can bring off the bench or you can just rotate and rest legs. So you're not playing the same ones every week. And Jota is one of those players. Liverpool signed him so it wasn't the same front three every week. So they had someone they can put in who can still deliver to the highest level, who can still deliver the goals. And while he might not have got one today, he showed what he's about. He's offered that reminder. And there was one moment where he's unlucky not to score when he goes on this amazing run in the second half, cuts inside, beats a few men, sadly kicks it straight at the keeper. Give him a few weeks. He's putting that in the top corner when they play Brighton next month.
Exactly.
He just needs to get that match sharpness back, but it's a big step in the right direction for him tonight.
It's a good headache to have, really, isn't it? Because we could have been one injury away from an attacking crisis, and now we've got an almost surplus of attackers. I think it's really strange. But he spoke of confidence there for Jota. Someone else who was somewhat low on confidence, seemingly from the outside of things, was Mohamed Salah. Got his goal today, Theo. That's going to do him the world of good, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But then at the same time, he's not a player that seems to be phased, is he? Like, I know he goes through these spells of where he's not scoring goals or he's not as prolific, but he still gets in the chances. And you need to be in those positions to create the chances to miss them. And eventually something's going to fall your way. It was a composed finish from him. He's unlucky not to get a second. I suppose it was a bit fortuitous, a deflection on one of his shots, and it hit the woodwork. There's still going to be those questions about his role in this team. Like, he's out wide maybe a little too often, and with Trent too inside, you'd like to see them the other way round.
Yeah.
But it's just about sorting out those teething problems, players finding their roles in the team. And opposition defences are sort of muscling him out, not as in like he can't cope with the physicality, but they know when he's out wide, you just put 2 or 3 men blocking his path to goal, and he's limiting his options. And if Trent's got inside, then he can't pass it and he has to force it back. Something's not quite right there still, but it's still better than we've seen recently. And now Liverpool have got a few weeks to push it in the right direction, as I've said already. But you want to see Mohamed Salah scoring goals. We know his contract he signed in the summer was heavily incentivized. He had his own confidence in himself to provide goals, provide assists, and he's got another vital Champions League goal tonight. Hopefully the first of many this season.
Yeah, hopefully he kicks on from here. His starting position has changed, though. He's certainly playing very much out wide at the moment. But who cares? He scored today. Maybe he'll keep scoring from there and shut us all up. But we did bring on Darwin Núñez and Roberto Firmino, Theo, in the 65th minute, I think it was. How would you make of their 2 performances? Not the best of nights for Núñez again, seemingly struggling in the Liverpool lineup, do you think?
You're being a bit harsh there, Pat. Struggling. He's just a player.
Not struggling. His service wasn't great, again, I'll admit that, but he doesn't look as comfortable on the ball as, say, Firmino did, maybe.
No, he's one of those players where his first touch doesn't seem to be as exquisite as Firmino, and he is a player that wastes a lot of chances before he gets goals. But that has been the case ever since we saw him at the start of pre-season. Yeah. And I believe that was the case when we saw him last season for Benfica against Liverpool as well. It's the fact that he's creating those chances. He should have scored in front of the cop. Salah puts it, not on a plate for him, but you think composed finish, you put that in the bottom corner, you're the hero tonight. And while Liverpool have got the win, he'll be annoyed that he's not at least hit the target with that chance tonight. But there's the competition there now. You've got Firmino there, you've got Jota there. He knows he's got a battle for his shirt, but at the same time, it gives him that time to really find his feet. He doesn't have to start every week. He doesn't have to be Liverpool's saviour and get them 20 goals this season and be the man to turn around their fortunes. He's just an option you bring on to unleash the chaos. We were saying throughout the game, me and Gorsty on our live club, they've been so good for set pieces. Surely it's only a matter of time before one of them ends up in a goal. And you look at that bench, like, well, Núñez is the perfect man for that. You got the winner for Benfica, against Ajax last season. You can bring him on for a set piece. It'll cause some havoc. I think normally you wouldn't bring players on when you're about to take a corner, but Klopp actually did today. So you think, well, they know that as well. They know how good he is at set pieces. And it's just typical that you put him in the mix and it's someone else who gets the winning goal. But he's still that threat there. And it's going to take him time to get used to Liverpool. But we've seen that so many times before under Jurgen Klopp, from Andy Robertson, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Fabinho. You can go on. There's so many of them. And they've not turned out too badly. But they've had more pressure on them. I'd argue Darwin Núñez doesn't. Like, as long as Firmino's still performing highly, Jota's now back, he can take his time to find his best form. He's still creating the chances, and that's all you can ask at this moment. There's going to be a bit more pressure because you only have to look to Manchester to see what a similar profile of striker is doing. But he's a different player, isn't he? Completely. He was never going to hit the exact same heights and be this explosive forward straight away because pressure isn't on him in the same way. Liverpool is going to bide their time with him. Otherwise, he'd be starting every game, and then the pressure would grow even more. I think Klopp's got it right today, putting him on the bench and choosing his games. We'll see more of him after the World Cup, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I was a bit too harsh in my questioning of him. He is only 23. It's going to take time.
It's okay, Pat. You won't understand your question anyway. I'm sure English isn't good enough.
Very true, very true. Well, Theo, we'll leave it there. Unfortunately, this is the last debrief we're going to have until the Brighton game in October, the last time Liverpool playing at Anfield. Until then, it's a very long wait. But we'll be sure to keep up to date, everyone, on the Blood Red channel. We'll have plenty of content for you. We'll have plenty of content for you tonight as well. We'll bring you Jurgen Klopp's press conference as soon as we have that, so keep your eyes peeled across the channel. But thank you all for watching and listening along. My name is Patrick Smith, and I've been with Theo Squires. Thank you very much for watching the debrief.